Hey everyone, there's something I wanted to speak about tonight. I had actually planned to make a video about an issue concerning America, but I changed my mind because the story was brought to my attention today, and I remember reading it at the time. It's from March 18th, 2019. And I wanted to speak on it because I have some comments on it for Deputy Secretary of State John Sullivan from the U.S. Department of State. So, News 24 reported on 3/18/2019 on Deputy Secretary John Sullivan's visit to South Africa on land expropriation. And a quote from him was that the complexity of the South African land reform process, including the continuing national dialogue about expropriation, has not traveled well across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States, and there is some misinformation about what it actually entails. So he went to South Africa and he met with a number of different officials and the International Relations and Cooperation, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. More than 600 U.S. businesses are registered in South Africa, and it's the country's third largest foreign direct investor. Not for long, with your racist, stupid policies, where companies can't even hire their own employees based on qualifications. You force them to hire based on race, which is racist. What I want to know is he met with agriSA, he met with the ANC, he met with Grain South Africa. Why did he not meet with the Transvaal Agricultural Union? Why were they not invited to the round table? Are they not farmers? Are they not part of the farming community? No, I have a theory of why they weren't invited, because their input was not wanted. I'll remind everyone, and for Americans who don't know, some of the farmers in the Transvaal, which is a region of farmland in South Africa, the land has been in their families for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. These people should have been at this round table. I find Secretary John Sullivan's stance on land expropriation without compensation, and the fact that he downplayed these murders against white farmers, cowardly at best. The fact is, these murders, number one, are an issue. When you're murdered at a rate of 156 of 100,000, and you are only 8% of the population, and the murder rate for the total population is 34.2 of 100,000, there is a problem. The numbers are manipulated because when reported, the murders are reported as a whole. In fact, this year is the first year they've put out the statistics for farmers at all. So when the numbers are put out, they're manipulated because they fail to tell you that these people only make up 7 to 8% of the population, yet their murder rate is insane. 156 of 100,000. That is a problem. And for the Deputy Secretary of State to go there and ride the fence on these issues, number one, if land deeds were not important, we would not have them. Number two, it's against international law to take people's land without compensation. There is no proof that these people stole anyone's land. As a matter of fact, there's proof to the contrary. They stole nothing. They were there before these other people. The only people that inhabited the land sparsely were the Khoisan people, okay? They made deals with the Khoisan, treaties with the Khoisan, and gained land, a lot of land, yes. Later on, other people migrated to South Africa from all around Africa. Why? Because it was being built up, the economy was booming, the education system was first class, healthcare was first class, they had a first world military. I mean, at one point the rand was almost equal to the dollar. Right now, it takes 15 rand to make up 1 American dollar. The South African power grid is on the verge of complete collapse due to the infrastructure not being upgraded, due to the maintenance not being done, and the money allotted for these things being pocketed by criminals, thieves. They do not care about the country. They don't care about economic success for the country. I mean, think about it for a second. This is a country so rich in minerals, but this government in 25 years has not been able to compute that into economic success. There is a problem. And it really just pisses me off, because for him to go over there and these issues to be just like he just rode the fence. I'm the type of person, there's no gray area for me. There is black and there's white. There's this side of the fence and there's that side of the fence. You're on one side or the other. And I don't like fence riders, and that's what he did. He just kind of said, oh, well, have white farmers been murdered? Yes. But have farm workers been murdered? Yes. Everybody's murdered in South Africa. Okay? The murder rate is insane. The crime rate is insane. The difference is the brutality of the murders based solely on race due to the government inciting murder against their own people is something completely different than an everyday robbery, than a murder that takes place during a robbery. Some of these people are tortured for 8 hours, hands drilled, feet drilled, Achilles tendons cut, children gang raped to death. Okay, wives gutted, their heads cut off in front of their husbands. The men are killed last. They are a problem. And I know how many have been murdered because I have their names. From 1987 until now, I have every name. And most of them, I have stories of their murders. Not only is the murder rate so insane, but only 8% of murders are ever prosecuted in South Africa. That in and of itself is insane. And Mr. John Sullivan, had you read the bill and what they're doing to change the Constitution, you would see it's not only land, white-owned land, that they want to expropriate, but it is anything on that land that generates monetary gain. So essentially, they can take anything they want. And I would like to point out one last thing before I end this video, because I didn't want to make it too long. For every black South African that is being lied to and manipulated by the corrupt terrorist regime known as the African National Congress and the EFF, for every black South African, the truth of the matter is, if they manage to take this land, no black South African will ever own that land. It will be government-owned land. You may rent it, you may be allowed to use it, but you will never own it. It will be the exact same thing, almost the exact same thing that Stalin did. It will be collectivized farming. People will starve in mass, and it will be government-owned land forever. And they pander and they lie, telling the black majority that they are going to take this land and give this land to them to right whatever delusional wrongs that they have made up in their head that were done 400 and something years ago, before the United States even existed. And they tell them that they are going to give this land. They are not going to give anything. Like I said, you may rent it, you may use it, but you'll never own it. They are lying to you. They are lying to everyone. They are lying to the world. And they're not going to get away with it forever. They're not. And this is ridiculous. I would have expected better from the Trump administration, from the Deputy Secretary of State of the Trump administration. This isn't the Obama administration. You weren't sent over there to ride the fence. You were sent over there to tell the truth. And the truth was not told. You should have spoken to the Transvaal Agricultural Union. You should have spoken to others. I mean, Jesus Christ, the ANC murders each other at a rate that's insane for positions of power and money. These are the people that you trust to tell you the truth about land expropriation without compensation and farm murders? Give me a freaking break. More than half of these people have been convicted of money laundering, fraud, hate speech, other things, murder. I mean, they commit murders. They hire hitmen to commit murders. And these are the people that you want to speak to, and no one else. It makes no sense whatsoever unless you agree with what is going on, unless you're totally fucking blind to everything in the world, or you just do not care. You cannot ignore this. The evidence is there, plain as day, to see, in black and white. I have it. I will gladly hand it over. There's no other explanation. Either you agree with it and you're a part of it, or you speak against it and you tell the truth. And I am very disappointed in the Department of State for not taking a stance on this issue, not standing up and saying this is wrong. We are the last watchdogs in the world who give a shit about anybody else in the world. Maybe it's just the people, maybe it's just the conservatives, the patriots, but I feel that we have an amazing ability in America as Americans, and that is we have power in numbers. So I myself am just one person, very small. But in numbers, if enough pissed off American patriots demanding answers contacted the White House, the Department of State, the President, demanding answers and wanting to know why this is being allowed and not stopped, in numbers, we have the power to change the world. I feel that to not use that power that so many others do not have, that voice, is doing a great disservice to the world. We should speak while we still can, because if we do not, this will come for us. I already see the signs of how it began for them is how it's beginning for us. Good night, everyone, and good morning, South Africa. I will talk to you soon.